believes I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello, good morning. Guys, I'm trying to do a podcast over here. Okay, sorry, I probably just totally insulted any East Coast person with my with my crappy accent here. Got my dogs playing in the background and I'm clearing my throat and I'm doing bad accents right out the gate. Hello. That's when you know it's going to be a good podcast, right? Anyway, hello. Welcome to the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney. Good morning. Brr, holy cow, it's a little nippy this morning. Fall is not here until the 21st, but I think it's here. It's foggy. It's foggy and it's cold. And I didn't think that I was ready for fall, but I think I kind of am. I think I'm just ready to to be in comfy, cozy clothes. And I like the smell of fall, I like the colors of fall. It's pretty great, but that just means that winter and spring are around the corner, and I'm really not down with either of those seasons. Not at all, at least not here in Oregon. Maybe somewhere else I'd be down with it. In Australia, then it's like summer. But anyway, totally digressing. My point is, it's cold, and I'm not used to it, and I'm being a baby, but it does smell good, and I'm kind of loving the fog. The fog is just like hanging down like in this gully, and it looks pretty awesome. That's when you remind yourself that the world is pretty beautiful. It's pretty freaking amazing. Even if you're in the desert has amazing beauty on its own. Like every part of the world, even cities, as much as I can't stand cities, sometimes you just have to admire the structures, admire the buildings, admire the lines, admire the brick, As a macro photographer and just a photographer in general, I love like the textures of stuff and the lines of stuff. So cities can be cool. As far as a photography aspect, and of course, taking pictures of the people on the street and stuff, you can get some great shots. And at night, the lights, the city lights are pretty great. I've never been to places that are really flat, like Nebraska and Iowa, and I'm sure that has its own beauty. I'm not going to lie. I feel like there's not a whole lot. But then they have rivers. So what am I talking about? I'm not trying to offend people from there. I'm sorry. That was crappy to say. First, I've never been there, so I'm talking out my ass. Also, like I just said, every single place has beauty in their own right. And those places probably have great creeks, great lakes, great hiking trails, and all of that good stuff. So, but I'm just not used to it. But it does make for great landscape, and it makes me appreciate the beauty. There's some blue jays going on, or maybe they're blue jays, blue birds, blue cardinals. I don't know what they're called. So all the bird people out there, don't get on me. I'm admitting, I know it's a blue. I can't see it. I can hear it. And I feel like that's a blue jay or a blue cardinal, whatever you call them. So you hear all of the noises, and it's great. Anyway, I'm babbling, and it's because I yet again did not sleep, because I was again just not able to, because of all of the craziness that is going on in my life and the world. And it's giving me some serious stomach issues, and I'm just having some problems. I honestly think I need to make an appointment, but I'm stressed. I'm pretty stressed out, and I'm trying to focus on the fact that I get to go see my grandkids today, and that is amazing, and that always makes everything better. But for right now, I'm going to bitch, or not bitch. Just right now, I'm going to vent. I don't feel like bitching. I'm just venting, just talking. You know, I said I would pick up this thing and just kind of talk out my thoughts with anybody that wants to listen, anybody that can relate. But I'm stressing out because, like I said, it's hard when you make a decision. You make a decision that's a difficult one and one that takes a lot of work and money and time and energy and guts, and you've decided that's what you're going to do, but then stuff gets in the way and you just keep having to tackle one issue. Gosh, excuse me. You keep just remembering, okay, just take one issue at a time, just tackle one thing at a time, focus on the things you can control. But then meanwhile, you're still in the bad situation. And the longer that you're in this bad situation, the harder it is to get out. And it's so frustrating when you feel trapped and you feel like you don't have any stability. When you feel like you have no stability and everywhere you go, you just don't feel safe or secure. And it seems like there's just people are losing their mind no matter where you go. And it feels like you can't go to work and you can't go home and you can't go on the streets. You can't go to the grocery store, no matter where you go, no matter where you turn, it just seems like there are crazy people and unstable people everywhere. And then now there's all these gangs all over the place. There's all these illegal aliens that are taking over and they can't drive. And everywhere you look, you have to make sure a car isn't going to come out of nowhere and smash into you, or a gang member isn't going to come and kill you, or someone's not going to sex traffic your child. Or you have to now worry about shootings in schools. So you can't even be safe. You can't even feel safe taking your child to school. But like in the state of Oregon, they don't want to educate your child. They want to keep your child good and programmed. So they have took away things like reading, writing, and arithmetic, the useless things in life that you'll never use. I mean, hell, if you're an illegal alien, you don't have to use any of those things. They just hand you a driver's license. They don't give a shit if you have no idea what the signs say on the road. They don't care if you know how to actually operate that vehicle. No. But if you're an actual citizen, you have to take the test and you have to make sure that you pass that test. And then you have to do the driving part of the portion of the test. And you have to make sure you pass that. And you have to be of a certain age. And you have to make sure your eyesight is good. And you have to renew that. And you have to pay for registration and title and taxes and, all the other crap they decide to throw at you. But if you're an illegal alien, if you're a sex trafficker and a murderer and a terrorist and a gang member or part of the cartel or a drug, part of the cartel, then hey, why not just hop in a car, get as many guns as you want? We're passing out guns, we're passing out driver's license, and then grab a voter's registration card and sign up to vote, and then sign up for food stamps and for health care and any other thing that you want. Hell, throw some diamonds in there. Go to Tiffany's, go to Louis Vuitton, go go to Gucci, go over and eat in Hell's Kitchen, eat some Gordon Ramsay place, and the bill's on us. Have as many children as you want. And in the meantime, take over all of our resources and, hey, expect all the Americans. And then we're supposed to smile and we're supposed to keep bending over. It's so frustrating. And when again, it just seems like no matter where you go, it doesn't matter if you go to work, it doesn't matter if you go to the store, it doesn't matter if you are trying to go to the movies or a restaurant or be at home. Nothing feels safe, nothing feels stable, nothing feels happy. And let me tell you, I have been putting on my best smile and wave, my best pageant smile and my best pageant wave, or the penguins from Madagascar. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. You know, and I have been trying to focus on my grandchildren and focus on how beautiful this earth is and focus on my dogs and focus on making a plan. Focus on moving forward and solutions. I really have. I've been freaking Pollyanna. Most of you probably don't even know what Pollyanna is, but it's a movie. It's a Disney movie, although I hate Disney, but this is the old Disney before they are way too crazy. They've probably always been crazy. I just didn't realize it because I was a kid. But anyway, Pollyanna, if you haven't seen that movie, great movie. Check it out. But, she was eternally happy and people were getting annoyed with her because no matter what, she spun everything into positive and goodness and tried to make everybody happy. And I feel like that is what I've been doing. And I have had one thing after another thrown at me. And when you are around people that suffer from addiction, and it's numerous people in your life, whether it's people that are your friends, families, coworkers, bosses, whomever it is, when you are surrounded by them all the time, and you are also surrounded by decisions that you've made and you keep trying to go forward with those already difficult decisions and you run into wall after wall. And then you find out, that some family members have passed away. So you're dealing with death and grief and you're not sleeping. It just gets a little difficult to constantly try to be the optimist and the calmer one. And let me tell you, I'm not saying that I always do it. I definitely have failed for sure at times, but I have been doing what I think is my best in a bad situation. And I got to go to Vegas for a convention, and I went with my coworker, and she was basically like, "Wow, you are a lot of fun, and you're so happy and positive." And I'm like, "I know, isn't it amazing how different people can be when they're around positive people and they're around happiness and they're not around stress and they're not around anxiety and panic? Isn't it amazing how who and what you're surrounded by affects your attitude?" I mean, again, anyone that knows me knows I'm not some cranky, mean person. Obviously, I have been a cranky person and I have been mean before, but that's not my nature. That's not my personality. And I'm trying so hard to stay happy and positive and a cheerleader. I'm trying to not think about me. I'm trying to only think about solutions and moving forward. And I'm trying to not make things about me and continue to focus on others. But damn, sometimes I want it to be about me. Sometimes I want to say, who is here to help me? Can't people see that I'm drowning? Can't people see that my smile is fake and that I am desperately wanting someone to notice that I am panic stricken and I am shaking and I feel so unstable? And my entire life has been surrounded by instability. Growing up, I went to 4 different elementary schools. So between kindergarten and 6th grade, I went to 4 different schools. I went to 2 different junior highs. And then I did get to go to one high school, which was amazing. I had 3 fathers, and all of which were very flawed. And I've had many of my family members die on my birthday, and I have struggled with different types of abuse and abandonment. And, again, my parents were alcoholics and the cops were over all the time, and I was alone and I babysat myself. I did my homework by myself. I'm an only child. I did my homework by myself. I made my own food. I managed to get myself to the school bus and back home, and my parents would be gone until all hours of the night. So I'd be home by myself at 7, 8, 9 years old. And not the safest. It wasn't the most unsafe neighborhood either, but it wasn't safe. And I just grew up doing things on my own. I think it's an only child thing. I think it's children of addicts thing. It's all of that. So I just learned to figure shit out. That's why I'm better under stress usually. I just go, I have to do this. It's do or die. I don't want to die. I go in survival mode and I figure it out. That's why I'm not trying to whine right now. I'm not trying to be a victim and be like, poor me. Listen to me. My life is rough. God, my life is a lot better than a lot of other people's, and I've had a pretty shit life, and I haven't really gone into detail about my life, but it's been pretty fucked up. But I know a lot of people that have had a lot worse. And that said, I do want to say, I said this in a podcast before, just because someone else has had it worse doesn't mean that what I'm going through or what you're going through isn't valid. Doesn't mean that we're not allowed to be sad or angry or scared or whatever. Just because someone else has had it worse doesn't mean we have had it good either, or that we're not allowed to be angry and have our feelings. It's not a comparison thing. It doesn't get to be like who's ever had it the very worst in the whole world is the only one that gets to complain. Because someone else's worse doesn't mean that my life was good and that I didn't go through and survive some serious trauma. But that said, I do try to go, okay, it could be worse. Not necessarily that someone else has had it worse. I'll rephrase. It could be worse. And right now I'm going to focus on what I have to work with. So I'm just venting, but it is also, I'm feeling lost. But then I do this thing where I'm like, I don't ever ask for help. I never go out and ask for help. And then I'm like, why doesn't anybody help me? And then I always think, well, people should be able to tell that I need help. People should be able to offer. And then they do offer, and then I turn them down. It's a horrible, vicious cycle. It's ridiculous. It's not because well, I guess it is partially because I'm prideful. Yes, I will admit that. As again, I've talked before. Gwen, get over here. Come on, Gwenny, let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. God, my animals are obsessed with eating plums right now. And I looked it up and they're okay. I mean, it sounds like it'll give them some diarrhea if they eat too much, and they definitely can't eat the pit. But my dogs have been picking blackberries and plums. The plums fall to the ground and they eat the plums, and then they've been picking blackberries off the tree. Anyway, I definitely have been doing the whole somebody please help me, and then someone offers help and then I turn them down, and then I'm like, why doesn't anybody help me? I need help. And it's a stupid vicious cycle, but pride is definitely part of it, yes. But the other part is I've just had it bite me in the ass so many times when I have not asked for help at all, and then someone will come along and they'll basically beg me to allow them to help me, and they'll be like, no, please let me help you, please let me help you, I'm going to help you, let me help you, let me help you. And finally after they beg me and they persuade me to allow them to help, it ends up getting thrown in my face later. It ends up getting held over my head. And I detest feeling like I owe people anything. I don't want to owe anybody anything. I don't want to feel obligated to things. If I do something, I want it to be because I want to do it, because I feel that I should do it, because I want to do it, because it was my decision to do it, not because someone held something over my head. And when I decide to help somebody, I will never, ever, ever, nor have I ever held it over their head, nor have I expected them to do me a favor in return. Now, if we both at the very beginning of something, be like, hey, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. We'll trade one thing for another, I'll cut your hair, you'll cut my hair, I'll groom your dog. Okay, then obviously there's an trade. We've made a mutual agreement that we're both going to get something out of it. That's different to me. I'm cool with that. Those kinds of things I like, because then I don't feel obligated. I don't feel like it's held over my head and now I've got to help them in return. I don't like getting help because someone basically strong arms me to it, insists, and then turns around and like throws it in my face. Sorry, I'm out of breath and I'm climbing up this hill and whew. Anyway, so it's frustrating and I don't usually want people's help because it's just too much. I feel like Sheldon on Big Bang with presents. He doesn't like presents because then he's like, oh, great. Nuh-uh, Gwen, leave it. Good girl. Because then he's like, oh, man, now it's like this obligation. And I know people, a lot of people, do not expect anything in return. A lot of people don't hold it over your head. They don't want anything in return. They have no expectations. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. They do it because they want to do it. And those people are amazing. And I feel bad for those type of people that offer their assistance and I turn them down because I like to help people. I love to help people. And when people turn me down, I'm like, oh, that sucks because I can help you. So just let me help you because I can and I don't mind and I'm not doing it so that you owe me a favor or so that I look like an amazing person. I don't do it for my own righteousness. I do it because I genuinely want to. And I don't like it when people don't allow me to help. But yet here I am being a hypocrite because I don't allow people to help me. And my counselor and I have talked about this before and I need to work on it. Because again, I can't cry and whine and be like, nobody's helping me. Why don't people see? Because again, I'm just a big fat crying, martyring, whining hypocrite. Like the Democrats. God, I'm acting like a Democrat. You guys saw that coming. You knew I was going to throw that in there. You knew it. Anyway, that has been keeping me up. The whole help thing, the pride thing, the feeling trapped and nowhere to go, and just the world going crazy, And it bums me out because I want to be like, the world is full of a lot more good people than bad. There are far more people in the universe that are here for, that are in it for good intentions, that have good intentions, they're good people. Far more people like that than there are bad people. And I'm sure that is the case. But now with all these illegal immigrants coming in, I question it. I'm like, is that the case? Or are we just getting more bad? Because that scares the shit out of me. And then I'm like, oh, you're being pessimistic again. And I'm like, no, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being a realist. I am just stating the facts. I am just stating what I observe. That doesn't make me a pessimist. And, then that whole scenario goes round and round in my head. And then that keeps me up. I'm like, am I a pessimist or am I a realist? I feel like there's a fine line, Am I being pessimistic or am I just being prepared? Am I just gathering info? And then I'm like, well, a pessimist just stays on the bad. They focus on the bad and only the bad. And I'm not only focusing on the bad and I don't stay on the bad. So then I'm like, boom, I'm just a realist. I'm just practical. I just see what I observe and I talk about it. And that's how I take it all in and absorb it. I work it out with you guys and then I do what I can and I focus on what I can control and all of that. So I feel like I'm handling things okay, given everything going on, is my point. Basically, I guess I just came on here to brag about how fabulous I am given the circumstances. No, just kidding. Anyway, hey, I hope that you guys are staying fabulous. I hope that you guys aren't allowing this world to kick you in the cojones and keep you down. I hope you guys are finding a reason to get out of bed every morning. I mean, my podcast is a good reason, right? No, there are better things than my podcast to get you out of bed. Just life. And I hope you're just not allowing it to weigh you down and keep you down. So, to everybody out there that needs a hug, I'm sending them a hug, starting off the day with a hug. And thank you for listening. And hey, you got this? You got this. Have you made your bed this morning? I'm telling you, I've said this before after watching that video of that military guy talking about how important it is to start the day with making the bed. I'm telling you, it helps. And if you don't have a bed, pretend like you're making a bed. Go through the motions. If you have a park bench and that's what you have, I'm so sorry. Try to pretend like it's your bed. Visualize the fact that you will have a bed. Visualize what you do, what it'll take to get you a bed. What are the steps that you need to be able to upgrade you from a park bench to maybe a shelter, from a shelter to maybe someone's couch, from someone's couch to maybe your own small, tiny apartment, and so on. That is what I'm trying to do. Anyway, thank you for listening to another episode of The Ramblings of an Insomniac. Until next time.